Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us for the last edition of our 6 p.m. English news this week over the Republican television. Let's begin right away with our headlines. As Cameroon joined the rest of the globe to commemorate the International Day for Persons with Disability this Friday, December 3rd, 2021, Cameroon's Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irene, has reminded all of the necessity of the social inclusion of people with disabilities. Over 100 women drawn from all the 7 divisions of the Northwest region have gained knowledge of gender-based violence in an exercise that was organized by the Southwest and Northwest Women Task Force. Cameroon has entered the second phase of the National Decentralization and Development Strategy at the objective of a 3-day Council International Economic Forum that started this day with national and international experts. Those were our headlines. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. As you heard in one of our lead stories, Cameroon has joined the rest of the globe this Friday, December 3rd, to commemorate the International Day for Persons Living with Disability. In this regard, the Cameroon's Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irene, has reminded all of the necessity of the social inclusion of persons living with disabilities. She was speaking this day at the Yaoundé City Council while chairing the 38th edition of the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities. Jan Nenkam took part in the ceremony and compiled the following report.
Disability is not inability. This is the point persons living with disabilities emphasized to their audience this Friday, December 3rd, 2021 at the Yaoundé City Council on the occasion of the International Day of Disabled Persons. Observed under the theme, Leadership and Participation of People Living with Disabilities for an Inclusive, Accessible and Post-COVID-19 World, the event unfolded under the auspices of Cameroon's Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irene, accompanied by her counterpart of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Professor Marie-Thérèse Abena Ondwa, together with a host of dignitaries and disabled persons displaced for the purpose. In her speech reserved for the occasion, Minister Pauline Irene, while acknowledging the capabilities of disabled persons, reminded all of the necessity for their social inclusion.
Of this reflection is to promote the social inclusion of this target. It should be emphasized that people with disability have an enormous potential that must be capitalized in the development process of our country. The ratification by our country of the above-mentioned legal instrument will contribute to strengthen the national framework for the protection of the person with disability, marked by Law 2002 of April 13, 2010, and its implementing regulation. It will also pave the way for a better benefit of the fruits of international cooperation, regional integration, as well as a better protection of their human rights, which are in line with the implementation of the National Development Strategy, whose second pillar concerns the development of human capital and well-being.
The International Day for Disabled Persons comes thus annually to serve as an alarm clock to all that persons living with disabilities are normal beings as all and dispose of special talents that can be beneficial to all.
Still in connection to the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities, the Lord Mayor of the Yaoundé City Council has today handed over some basic commodities to over 700 persons living with disabilities. The solidarity gesture that unfolded at the esplanade of the Yaoundé City Council was at its 12th edition, which is to enable persons living with disabilities to have a successful and happy end-of-year festivities. We have details with Janika.
Composed of some basic commodities, notably rice, oil, soap and others, for a happy and successful end-of-year festivities is the composition of gifts offered by the Lord Mayor of Yaoundé to people living with disabilities in its area of jurisdiction and without. This solidarity gesture, which is in its 12th edition, had as venue the esplanade of the Yaoundé City Council and saw the donation of gifts to about 700 people living with disabilities. As persons, in most cases, treat them like less beings, which is indeed deplorable.
We are facing, we us disabled people. First, like when we are having our activity, or there's someone that we want to do activity, and when we are going maybe closer to someone like a ministry to deposit our documents. So it's not really easy to go through. So, and then another difficulty that we had a difficulty like when we want to lift away from another place or in our job site or whatever. We have a difficulty like with taxi. To take a taxi is not really easy for us.
Speaking on behalf of the Lord Mayor during the occasion, Flavien Enoa, second assistant to the mayor, did not fail to wish them a happy end of year while wishing them all the best in the upcoming year, giving them therefore the assurance that they can count on the Yaoundé City Council just like every other citizen. A kind gesture which was only well received by the beneficiaries, who can only hope and wish for more.
There are some of us that they don't even have the means to have even one cup of gari. So when he distributed like this, he helped many people, he helped many of us. So that's why we are thanking him very much for that side. If another Cameroonians could have think like him, I hope that he will be better. You know, one hand cannot tie a bundle. So we are pleading for another people to even come across to join him to do this, because it's really helping us.
The solidarity gesture will also include some 100 mental health patients who are currently receiving treatment at the Yaoundé Gynéco Obstetric and Pediatric Hospital for them to equally celebrate end-of-year festivities like every other normal being.
The World Health Organization has estimated that more than 1 billion people and about 15% of the world's population have some form of disability, and not all persons living with disabilities are disadvantaged. In the following report, our reporter tries to bring out the state of disability in the world. Let's take a listen. Almost everyone will suffer from a temporary or permanent disability at some point in their lives. Despite this, few countries have adequate arrangements to fully meet the needs of people living with disabilities. The World Health Organization estimates that more than 1 billion people to about 15% of the world's population have some form of disability, and this figure is likely to increase as the prevalence of non-communicable diseases increases. Although there is a link between disability and disadvantaged condition, not all people with disabilities are equally disadvantaged. In 2017, the World Health Organization made a progress on a number of initiatives to implement the recommendations of a landmark report that has met date as the World Report on Disability and the World Health Organization Global Disability Action Plan 2014 to 2021. Last February, at a global gathering of rehabilitation experts dubbed Rehabilitation 2030, the World Health Organization got participants to commit to helping governments develop comprehension models of service delivery, strong multidisciplinary staff, to expand funding mechanisms and improve health information systems with aims of meeting the growing demand for rehabilitation services for people living with disabilities. The World Health Organization has therefore joined its partners this Friday, December 3rd, 2021, in celebrating a day for all. This theme echoes the increasingly widely accepted idea that disability is part of the human condition. Away from that, let's now talk something else, where the Minister of External Relations, Lojin Bella, has received in audience this Friday, December 3rd, the Vice President of the Federal Parliament of Belgium, André Flao, in his cabinet. There are about 60 minutes discussion centered on how to revise the relationship that exists between Cameroon and Belgium. Let's now take a listen to the diplomat who spoke on the microphone of Anne Omeko and Samuel Bonis.
Here in Cameroon, one in Luanda, in Douala, sorry. But I think it's possible for the future to have a close cooperation between Belgium and also Cameroon, but not only with institutions, but with the citizens of the two countries in the different matters. By example, education, health, and so. And I am very optimistic for the future, and also more optimistic after the dialogue with the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Councils with outstanding performance to contribute to local development have awarded during the Fcfa National Award 2021 edition. The ceremony was presided over by the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, Elanga Obam, with international juries at Hilton Hotel here in Yaoundé. And Omeko took part in the ceremony and compiled the following report.
These are the three winners of the 2021 edition Fcfa National Palmarès Award to councils who have significantly improved the living environment of Cameroonians. Garoua community in the far north occupies the first position, Bayangam Council in the west region second position, and the Mayo Dairy in the Adamawa region occupies the third position. Hard work pays and the joy is visible.
This prize is a better price for me. I'm married since only 20 months, so competitive in Fcfa prices, Fcfa award, and going back with the fourth prize, I think is a very important moment I'm now living.
For the national prizes for the regions, first position Adamawa region, second Central region, and third East region. The best prize of this edition was given to Zwaitele Council area in the South region by the President of the International Jury. Despite the socio-political crisis rocking the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon, they were recognized for their outstanding performances in promoting local development.
This award today is a sign that despite the crisis, we are still determined to see that the Northwest region is fully represented. And I want to equally say that having this prize is because I came in as a young mayor, and I came in with the fresh and developmental ideas to say that we put our documentations together, we put all the bits and pieces together to see that the council documentation becomes up to date. And that is why Bafoot Council is measuring first in the Northwest region, because we came in and we worked hand in glove with the other workers of the council to aid that everything becomes well. You know, all is not well despite the fact that we took first in the Northwest region. We still have some challenges, and I want to tell you that this cassava project, this 2 million, is going to build up also that next year we should be first. We should be now those to grab the 50 million.
It's a feeling of happiness. I count it all joy that amongst the many we could be selected and rewarded this day. The journey of 1,000 steps, 1,000 miles begins with a step. It's going to go a long way. We are very appreciative.
The 2021 4th edition Fcfa National Award for Councils of Local Development Best Practices, a colorful ceremony presided by the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, Elanga Obam, December 2nd at Hilton Hotel in the presence of top government officials. A stepping stone to making Cameroon an emerging country by 2035.
Cameroon has entered the second phase of the National Decentralization and Development Strategy at the local level, an objective of a 3-day Council International Economic Forum that started this day with national and international experts. It is a move towards boosting small and medium-sized enterprises and made in Cameroon. We have Anne Omeko once more.
Cameroon's rich agricultural, fisheries, livestock are among some sectors that will be financed in a bid to enable decentralization and local development in the country. This in a bid to overcome poverty, joblessness and hunger in the country. Objective of this Council's International Economic Forum, JECOM 21. The 3-day open doors for the Council's International Economic Forum starts December 3rd at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. The ceremony is presided by the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development, Elanga Obam, that brought together government officials, ambassador of France to Cameroon, members of the diplomatic corps, and experts from the different parts of the world. An opportunity to exchange with national and international investors, a step undertaken by the government to boost small and medium-sized enterprises and to valorize the made in Cameroon, all efforts to contribute to the sustainable development of the country. At the end of the ceremony, the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development visited the different stands in a bid to appreciate the different moves that the different mayors have undertaken to see that local development becomes a reality in the country.
Let's now take you to the northwest region of the country, where over 100 women drawn from all the 7 regions of the northwest region have gained knowledge of on gender-based violence. It is an exercise that was organized by the Northwest and Southwest Women Task Force. This is an activity in connection to the 16 days activism against gender-based violence. We have details with our Northwest correspondent, Neba Jerome.
The rate of gender-based violence is at the increase, most especially in the 2 English-speaking regions of Cameroon, where the socio-political upheaval is still on. It was for this reason that the Northwest-Southwest Women Task Force organized a 1-day workshop in Bamenda in continuation with the United Nations 16 days activism against gender-based violence.
We have identified gender-based violence as one of the vices that is very, very rampant, that has been exacerbated by the present conflict. So we realize that it is necessary for us to bring our grassroots women who are very, very exposed to these various forms of gender-based violence, to sensitize them and give them education so that they can be able to identify the various forms of gender-based violence, and at the same time gain knowledge on how they can go about to solve these cases of gender-based violence, or when they find themselves.
The over 100 women drawn from all the 7 divisions of the Northwest region were tasked to amplify their voices in the fight against gender-based violence.
I don't learn more about gender-based violence concerning girl child, early marriages, women the way they know we take decision for their home then. But better as I don't can learn and I don't take a knowledge, I be very impressed, I be very happy. I will take back this message to my community. And I don't learn again say gay child for go school, you know me now say now boy for go school. And gay child for inherit again.
Barrister Tamon Olivia took our time to sensitize the women on what GBV is all about, where they can go in time of help and the steps they can take when faced with GBV.
There are various forms of gender-based violence that are covered by the law, our domestic laws and our international laws. We have laws within Cameroon, beginning with the Constitution of the Republic of Cameroon. We have the 2016 Penal Code that was recently revised, which carries so many aspects of gender-based violence against. There's nobody who is above.
The Cameroon Poetry Professionals Association met yesterday in Yaoundé for their General Assembly, which was equally an occasion for them to vote members of the new bureau. The poetry professionals seized the opportunity to present some setbacks hindering the advancement of the poetry sector with proposed solutions, as Jan Nekam tells us in the following report.
It is in a bid to boost the activities of the poultry sector in the country that key actors converged in Yaoundé on the occasion of a General Assembly of Cameroon's Poultry Professional Association, IPAVIC, this Thursday. Just like every other year, the prices of table birds in local markets at the eve of end-of-year's festivity is a big blow to its consumers.
At 2 weeks old, now that costs 2,000 francs. You can imagine how December, Christmas is used to be celebrated in that area, how it will look like now that we have chickens very, very much expensive. And they are not really very much available now that we are at this particular moment.
Faced with such an embarrassing situation, some consumers have found comfort in frozen chicken due to its availability in local markets, which is not without a consequence on local poultry farmers.
The importation of frozen chicken definitely will have an effect on the local production, because if you look at our small-scale farmers, their cost of production is a little high, and such that when the frozen chicken comes into the market and is sold at a relatively low price, they can be able to sell at the cost that they have produced. So we are calling on the authorities to try to see how they can help the small-scale farmers by impacting them with the skills, the knowledge that they can be able to produce at a reasonable cost.
For a stable and sure supply of table birds in all 10 regions of the country, local poultry farmers are of the opinion that the government has a role to play.
The government should make sure that they harmonize the production of day-old chicks at the level that every region should have its own quantity of chickens that are constantly available. Not that they at one time they will have so much of the chickens when they really much not need them, and when they really very much need them, they are not there. We are really very much in crisis as concerns the day-old chicks in the Northwest region.
The General Assembly was an avenue for the Cameroon Poultry Professionals Association to vote new bureau members who will be their mouthpiece in all honesty. Representing Cameroon's Minister of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries, the Secretary General assured these stakeholders of the endless support of the ministry as far as the advancement of the poultry sector is concerned in the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, you're watching the 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Let's now talk sport, where the finals of the 2021 National Boxing Championship will take place tonight in Bamendjoum, West region of the country to save the sporting season. 12 boxing athletes will be fighting for gold in the competition that began on Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. We have details with Isaac Ngonkum.
The 2021 National Boxing Championship, which began on Wednesday, will come to an end this Friday night. In the semi-finals that were held yesterday in Bamendjoum, West region of the country, 12 boxing athletes qualified for the final in 7 different categories. In the less than 54 kilograms category, Ali Issa from the Southwest region, who qualified by forfeiture as the littoral region's Isuhu Muhammad failed to show up in the ring, will face Amisu Muhammad of the South region, who beat Wankyo Breeze from the West region still by forfeiture. Only one athlete has qualified for the finals in the less than 60 kilograms category. He is Ngala Desmark from the littoral region, who beat Bidias Nga from the East region in the semis. In the less than 63.5 kilograms, Tupeng Peggy from the West region will face Njomo Dave from the Center region after eliminating Steve Minko from the South region and Vasiniki Njimbo from the East region respectively. In the less than 67 kilograms category, Jean-Marie Onananga from the West region will take on Dominique Beyidi from the littoral region. In the finals, they triumphed over Abidias Adioko from the East region and Abubakar Musa from the Adamawa region. Nsangu Mohammed from the Littoral region is the lone man standing in the less than 71 kilograms category. He eliminated Ekani Jules from the East region in the semi-finals yesterday. Meanwhile, in the less than 75 kilograms category, Fundiku Muchili from the Littoral region will take on Gon from the East region after emerging victorious over Fabrice Chachua from the Southwest region and Alexandre Mbudu from the West region, respectively. Finally, in the less than 80 kilograms category, Focho Totap Jr. from the West region will face Ngongang Rodrigue from the East region after beating Yao Sali from the Southwest region and Akono Atuba from the Center region, respectively.
The Indomitable Handball Lionesses are currently taking part in the 25th edition of the Senior Women's World Handball Championship in Spain. The girls of Coach Serge Ngwebengo is taking on their Russian counterpart in Valencia, Spain. We shall be bringing you more updates in our 8 p.m. French news. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to the end of our 6 p.m. English news over the Republican television. Claude Mayo will be with you when it's exactly 8 p.m. for news in the French language. But until then, do stay tuned to interesting programs over the Republican television. Have a blessed weekend.